Dorian Walters stepped down the stairs into the kitchen of his home. A bright light shone in through the open window, and a small breeze flew in. The kitchen table was empty, and the house entirely silent. Dorian wondered where his wife and daughter had gone. "Alice! Terry! Are you home? Anybody?" called Dorian. No one answered Dorian's call. He stepped outside onto the lawn. Dorian was baffled to see both cars still in the driveway, completely clueless as to where his family could have gone to with no car and without telling him. It was a beautiful day outside, a perfect day for children to go out and play. But despite that, not a soul in the whole neighborhood seemed to have left their homes, not a person in sight. Dorian had noticed the lack of life in the neighborhood, and wondered if everyone had left to see some sort of event he had forgotten about. As he was thinking this, Dorian saw a shadowy figure across and down the street. Dorian was thrilled to see some form of life, though the figure he saw was unfamiliar. As it approached, more about the figure became apparent to Dorian. The figure was wearing a black cloak with the hood drawn. Under the hood, nothing could be seen but blackness. Dorian found the attire very off-putting, but because Dorian had always been a polite and trusting man, he felt it best to introduce himself to the odd stranger. "Excuse me, I don't believe we met. My name is Dorian, and I was just wondering if there was any particular reason why you were dressed like that. Is there a parade or a carnival in town?" he asked politely. A few seconds went by. Dorian was perplexed to see the figure just staring at him. It did not stare with eyes, as its eyes and face were not visible under the hood, but Dorian could feel it staring directly at him, and repeated himself, "I don't believe you heard me. I said—" Instant, the figure appeared directly in front of Dorian, and the world around it seemed to distort, darken, and grow cold in the black-cloaked figure's presence. "What are you? Get away from me!" cried Dorian. Dorian dashed off in a fit of panic. It was as if his entire perception of what is and could be real was shattered in a single moment. Not only that, but the black-hooded abomination that shattered it was chasing him down the street, gliding effortlessly across the ground and showing no sign of good intentions. Dorian ran out of the street where he lived and onto an empty highway, a shadowy figure following close behind him. The constant running was becoming exhausting, and Dorian began to stumble over the ground. Within a moment he tripped in a small ditch and fell to the ground. Dorian struggled to think of a way to escape quickly, but the only thoughts he could conceive were, "I'm going to die." Moments went by before Dorian realized that nothing was happening. He looked up to when the cloaked figure had stopped dead about 2 yards away from him, perfectly still, and was not making a sound. "What are you? What do you want from me? Why are you here? Why me?" yelled Dorian pitifully. The hooded figure gave no answer. It just stood there silently as the world blurred, darkened, and froze before it. "Answer me!" demanded Dorian. "Speak! Oh, for the love of God, just talk! What are you and why are you after me? Explain yourself!" The black figure moved slightly forward, and as it did, Dorian noticed the world became slightly colder and darker and harder to make out. Dorian refused to believe that this monster meant only to pester him. He could feel intention in its cold stare, and he could sense evil in it. He knew it was going to kill him. It just wasn't going to kill him yet. Dorian saw no more reason to keep running. He walked down the highway on his way to town, constantly keeping his guard up in case the hooded figure behind him were to strike. Dorian thought if he were to reach town, somebody might be able to help. He didn't know who would help or how, but he just kept up hope. An hour later, Dorian arrived in town with a feeling of dread caused by the steadily increasing amounts of cold and darkness brought on by the cloaked monster. He was beginning to feel that he was losing the hope that he once had. Dorian looked around the town for a moment and realized something. There wasn't a soul in it, not a single person in the entire town. No one in the shops, and not a car on the road. Dorian quickly came upon the realization that he had not only not seen a single person all day, but he had also not seen one living entity. He and the hooded figure were the only things that seemed to populate the entire area. Dorian began contemplating the possibilities as to what happened. "Did you do this?" he asked the hooded figure. "Did you kill them all just to single out me? Is this hell? Are you some kind of eternal punishment I am to suffer through? Why? I am a good, God-fearing man. Why would I be tortured like this? Am I just supposed to wait here for you to take my life from me? Answer!" In a split second, the hooded creature jumped closer to Dorian, much closer than it ever got. The cold became freezing. The darkness and distortion became blinding. Dorian's body started to feel numb, and he started bleeding from the mouth. Dorian refused to die. He refused to let the hooded abomination take him. Dorian used all the strength he could muster and sprinted away from black monstrosity, freeing himself of his numbness. Dorian ran into a nearby building, fleeing up some stairs near the entrance and down a corridor. He hastily ran down the corridor into a staircase. The cloaked figure followed behind, gliding and creating gusts of wind in its wake. "What is this now? Are you just taunting me?" Dorian said, almost laughingly. "Or are you just waiting for me to give up? Well, that's not gonna happen." Blood began running out of Dorian's mouth again. Dorian would not be tortured anymore. He would not allow this to go on for another second. On a rage-blinded impulse, Dorian took a flying leap off the top of the stairs at the cloaked demon, arms stretched outward to bring it down. His attempt was to no avail. The figure simply took a slight shift to the side. Dorian's jump missed, his head hit the bottom step of the stairs, and he died. Then the black, cloaked figure took him. But there was never any black cloaked figure or deserted neighborhood in town. There was just Dorian Walters, a man who had been in a coma for the last 3 years, whose family died 2 years ago, and who was currently flatlining in a dark room no one ever visits. By the time the doctors noticed he was crashing, it was too late. Dorian had already lost his battle with death.